Good morning. This is Stephanie Delaney from the Everyday Dog Positive Training. Excuse my voice. Haven't been making recordings lately. I was sick, so hence the voice. Anyway, what I'd like to talk about today, the difference between different philosophies, maybe you might say in training, dog training, or animal training, actually in any kind of behavior modification. So one, and really there are only two camps. I think I've mentioned this in the other videos, I don't remember now. There's force training and non-force training. There's 4 quadrants of behavior. It's literally, think like a tic-tac-toe thing, but 4. So you have positive and negative motivation, positive and negative punishment. These sound strange to our ear if we say it that way because we think of good, bad, right, wrong, but it's add, subtract. Okay, so positive means adding good things, negative means taking away good things. Positive reinforcement would be adding good things. Negative reinforcement is taking those good things away or with delaying or withholding them. Usually in case of dog training, it consists of delaying a lot. Then you have the punishment, which I don't do. That's the, and a lot of people hopefully don't do this, which is adding punishment and then stopping punishment. So those, that would be like, choke chain, pinch collar, electronics, a spray bottle in the face, shaker cans, throwing chains or whatever people used to have like these throw chains, or tossing things at the dog to hit them with them, kneeing the dog in the chest, anything that, or coming in at the dog, or things like that, intimidation, any of that type of punishment stuff, and then stopping that. So you do it, the dog stops the behavior, and they will in some cases, in most cases, it does scare them at least, and they'll stop the behavior, and then you stop the punishment. Problem is, it creates stress. Stress is the enemy, and adding stress to a dog doesn't help. It always tends to create more problems in the future, because now you have the dog anticipating punishment on top of whatever the trigger is. So they see another dog and they're anticipating something, depending on the dog's personality, whether it's a fight, flight, freeze type dog, a reactivity with what kind of fight, flight, freeze, is it going to be fight, flight, or freeze, I should say, with the reactivity. And that's my next subject, is the reactivity, because it kind of all works a lot with this. And so instead, I want to do, and I would hope you would want to do, adding good things when your dog sees another dog, keeping the distance. This is always about a safe distance, and then hopefully the goal is to be able to reduce that distance to where you're closer to the trigger, and your dog sees the trigger, whatever that may be, an animal, a person, a place, a thing, whatever it is, a sound, that the dog starts to have a positive, happy response to the trigger. And you would do this at a distance, or at a low volume if it's a sound like thunder, lightning. Basically stimulus, very low stimulus, and then slowly bringing it up with positive reinforcement, adding good things. So you would add good things, treats, touch, toys, or all of the above, depending on the circumstances, context, and you would make the association pleasurable for your dog. And again, must keep the dog under threshold, or at least do your best. I mean, reality, sometimes things happen and you have to hustle and get out of there. And if there's a thunderstorm, you really can't change what God's doing with thunder and lightning, but you can help your dog with a thunder shirt, medication, be prepared, and it's okay to sit with your dog as long as you have the attitude of everything's going to be fine, don't worry, we're good, and not the, oh my God, it's okay. That's not going to help. So you want to stay relaxed yourself, and help your dog to relax. Sitting with your dog, putting your hand on your dog is perfectly okay. You're not reinforcing fear, because fear is an emotion, not a behavior, so to speak. So you can be with your dog, be calm with your dog, help your dog, watch your breathing, and then your dog will start to relax with you. But in the meantime, desensitizing and counter-conditioning your dog, that's what it means to have, what I was saying before, create a positive association with whatever the trigger is, and exposing your dog to the trigger in small pieces, doses, and then with the positive and making that association. So it's counter-conditioning, which means good things happen when the trigger is around, the scary thing is around, or whatever the excitable thing is. And desensitizing means getting used to it at a safe distance, because you got to have that distance or volume down to get that, okay, see, it's not going to hurt you, and good things happen. It's not going to hurt you, and good things happen. So there you go. All right, I hope that's clear. And I want to talk about reactivity. Reactivity, okay. It's overreaction to a stimulus. Okay, trigger, whatever, sound, whatever. It's like a boom, a big reaction to something that, another dog would maybe go, oh, but this dog's like, ah, completely berserk. And then there's different levels of berserk. I mean, there's the really, right through the roof. And then there's definitely, there's something really not happy, dogs having trouble. And then there's more of the normal response, which is, oh my goodness, or even, hey, there's another dog. I mean, calm, confident dogs that are just like, it's cool. So your reactive dog, your highly reactive dog, your overly reactive dog is exactly what it sounds like. Desensitizing and counter-conditioning them is what you want to do. And you want to stay in the positive, which means you're going to give good things and then delay and or remove good things. So like when the dog goes away, they stop getting their treat or whatever, if you're playing tug with them, depending on the dog. Again, this is all depending on the individual dog. That's why you need somebody to work with you and your dog, because each dog's personality is going to react, this way or that way, and you're going to have the context of the situation specific to you and your dog. So the principles I'm presenting here are big principles. They're not specific things, although I touch on them. You really have to have somebody help you with the specifics of your situation. And okay, so the reactivity, same idea. You have this reactive dog, and so let's say typical leash reactivity. This is pretty much the one that everybody in trainers would get called. My dog's okay, but when they're on a leash, they lunge and all of this. Or maybe that they've never taken the dog around another animal off a lead because they're seeing how the dog acts on a leash, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'll kill them if I take them off leash. Maybe not, because it could just be the leash and the way you're holding. You're jacked up like this, holding them back, which is going to create oppositional reflex. So first things first, what I suggest is, at a safe distance, you get yourself a nice 15-foot leash, nylon, please. Don't get the cotton because it tends to rot very quickly and snap when least expected, which is obviously dangerous. So the nylon 15-footer is just right. I like it because it's enough room, but not too much. It's also not so much leash that you end up with spaghetti all over the place, you know. And I try to keep it, so think like a cowboy loop. I loop it up so that I have like a lasso type of situation, you know, just kind of like through my hand, and then I let it go over here, carry it, let it kind of fall over this hand to the dog so that I can let it out, bring it in, let it out, bring it in, let it out, bring it in, and not get into this, you know, pulling. Obviously, in safe areas, safe distance, and, you know, that's situational, and keeping your distance. Hopefully you can keep your distance. That's big. So just, you know, don't set yourself up for failure and your dog by, you know, putting your dog on a leash any length and walking downtown somewhere where you're going to be on a sidewalk going like this, you know, with them coming at you and you're trying to pass. That's a recipe for disaster. For a reactive dog is not going to do well. And then making your dog sit and stay when that other dog walks by is just adding stress. It's really not, I don't see that it helps unless you have the dog at a great distance. Excuse me, to get that cough. At a great distance, and you ask your dog to sit, and they're like, yeah, okay. And then you give them something, yay, here you go, here's a cookie. And they see the other dog, and that's fine if they're calm and relaxed and sitting. But to be like on top of them and be sit, 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 you know, it really is not helping. You're just adding to that whole stressful situation. So, yeah, that reactivity. Now, there's all kinds of things that happen, too. Dogs barking. Okay, you have the dogs in the house, and you have people walking by, and dogs are at the window barking. Well, management. These are things that need to be put into place. You can't teach anything if you're not preventing the behavior in the first place. So just because we do positive motivation doesn't mean that we just let the dog do whatever they want. We have a window, we have furniture, we have shades and blinds. Now, granted, I know some dogs will just rip right through them. Maybe they need to have maybe you need to get one of those X pens and just open it and put it across where the windows are, so that they don't have access to the windows. You're not penning the dog in, you're penning in the windows. Yeah, I know it's ugly, and people are like, oh, I don't want that in my house. Well, it's either that or you get your blinds ripped or your curtains ripped or your the sill of your window scratched all up. I mean, they do have, I will say, if you don't mind, then they do have a clear plastic cover that goes over your window sills that protect the wood. If you don't mind the dog up there going, you know, playing piano on it and barking their heads off. And that's up to you. I don't tell people how to live. That's, you know, I will tell you products that are out there. Personally, I pull the shades and I don't put furniture in front of windows where the dogs can then get up on and use as a platform. It's just me, that's what I do. You do not have to do it that way. There are other ways. The idea is not giving your dog some kind of platform or access to a window that's causing a problem, because they're practicing the behavior. They're practicing that behavior over and over, and they're just getting really good at it. So if you're in the background going, no, be quiet, no, be quiet, you're barking, they're barking, everybody's barking. It's going to happen over and over again. It's not getting any better. I mean, it's not working, probably, unless you maybe wicked scream at the dog or go over there and grab him and pull him away. Yeah, you'll stop it for the moment. And then the next time it'll be just as bad, if not worse, because now you've added stress, because now you've added punishment. Now, you can also work on quiet when the dog is quiet. You can have a dog sit in front of you. You can teach them the word quiet. Okay? You can teach them the concept, I really should say, of the word quiet. The concept of the word quiet has to be done while the dog is actually quiet. So the dog is sitting, you say quiet, and you put food in the dog's mouth and say quiet, and put food in the dog's mouth, and while they're chewing, say quiet. You do that, as many times during the day for a couple of seconds, 5-10 seconds, and go about your business. When you say quiet, your dog might actually turn around and look at you. If they do, yay! Oh my God, puppy, quiet! Yay! Yeah, get happy, because that dog just recognized a sound that you made that's positive, with a positive association. And what's most important is they stopped barking and they looked at you. Praise it, reward it, call them away, give them something else to do. You do not want to get in a situation where you do that and then they go back and bark, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to bark, look at you, and go, hey, pay me. I want my treat. Don't get into that. That's a bad behavior chain. You want to have the dog look out the window. That happens spontaneously. You bring them away, you close the curtain, you move something, you move the dog, you give them something else to do in another area. Maybe it's just, we're talking maybe 30, 40, 50 seconds, okay? Maybe, really a minute. If you can get their brain onto something else for a full minute, 30 seconds to a minute, you've redirected the dog. You redirected the dog into something else. Now, I know that there's going to be those dogs that are so conditioned, self-conditioned to bark out that window that it's going to take some time. And there are the things like putting up the gate and preventing them from having access that probably I would say that you probably have to do, because you have to actually prevent the problem. Well, I look at my clock here and we're coming up on 20 minutes. I can't believe I just spoke for that long. Well, 17 and plus. Oh boy, these go by really fast. I'm trying to keep them not really long, 15 minutes or so. I think I said before 5 minutes, but I guess that was unrealistic. So I'll stop with this one. I may do another one, but for the moment, bye-bye.